Joining me now, a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Adam Kinzinger. Congressman, thanks for joining us.
You bet.
It's getting complicated, obviously, and it feels like the administration has pushed back. They've displayed a show of force, but the provocations continue with these attacks last week. Where do you see this going right now?
So I think the thing to keep in mind is this is a desperate nation lashing out. So a strong country that's secure in its future, that has a happy population, doesn't attach mines to cargo ships, because what they're trying to do is to create chaos. They're trying to go right up to the line where they think the U.S. will have a military response, but not cross the line. What they want to do is show that they're still present. They want us to talk about them, to think of them in strong terms, and to be frightened by what would happen if they go past this nuclear threshold. I think what the administration is doing right now is correct. I was in Lebanon about a month ago, and they were talking about with Hezbollah, a lot of the funding to Hezbollah has dried up. A lot of the funding into Syria and into Yemen and elsewhere has dried up because they're out of money. And so this is desperation. So I think what's happening right now is the president has got to stand strong. He has to be willing to use a military option if it comes to that. I think we've crossed that threshold, but I don't think he's wrong in not necessarily doing it yet. And then continue to let these sanctions hit, and they will.
In the meantime, the clock is ticking. Now there's a new timeline, and that's what this uranium, low-grade uranium, is going to pass the limit for stockpiles that were allowed under this agreement in just 10 days. Another sign of provocation. I mean, each one of these seems to be nudging and pushing and poking. And what do you think to react? Do you think Iran, in some strange way, wants to see a strong military action against them, maybe to change the narrative somehow that they're the victims here?
No, I don't think so, because I think they'd lose that. They know it, and it would cost them a lot of money and a lot of infrastructure. But I think they want to take, so this is low-enriched uranium. They want to take everything right up to the point where they don't think the U.S. is going to respond, because it makes them look tough in the region. And it does. It makes them look like they're provocative with no consequences. And so that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to rally their domestic base. They have a very unhappy domestic base as well. And so that's where we're standing. But the one area when it comes to freedom of navigation of the seas, the U.S. must stand strong to allow that to happen. And if they further block or further have provocative actions against that principle, then I think there will be, and it's not going to be 200,000 troops, it's not going to be an invasion, but we can take out their ability to close down things like the Straits of Hormuz, and we can actually do it pretty quickly.
Our European allies are caught in the middle of all of this, and it feels like they're really having a difficult time deciding whose side they want to be on. They can't be on both, so how is that going to flesh out?
Well, that's nothing new for Europe. We love our European allies, but they're always usually the ones to follow any strong action, whether it's sanctions or any kind of change, because their interest right now is doing business in Iran. They have businesses there, and so they're kind of caught in between this. But they're ultimately going to do what's in their best interest, which is I'd rather do business in the United States than in Iran. I think they'll come along. And, you know, the other thing, too, is you just got to keep in mind on all this, this whole Iran nuclear deal, basically we're about halfway through when provisions of it start to expire anyway. So it's not like this is something new. It's just speeding up the timeline and putting bigger consequences to, I think, get to a better deal, or at least prevent them from having the resources to develop nuclear weapons and have forays into the rest of the Middle East.
Congressman, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Anytime. You bet.